El the Alchemist here, and I just got done completing another Spartan race. Woohoo! It was really awesome. I really do enjoy pushing my body and doing obstacles and just kind of seeing the evolution of myself and from the first long distance run I ever did to the first Spartan to where I'm at now, and I guess one could say seeing how it feels to go the distance. And on my path recently, I've had some pretty powerful rituals that made me really dial in and knowing myself, the sovereignty of being who I am and being able to affirm it and not have any hesitations with any questions on why I do this, why do I care to do what I'm doing in my life, and really having all the answers I would ever ask myself about why I'm doing what I'm doing. The evolution process from how I've done on my runs and pushing myself with my body, and looking back 8 years ago when I heavily got involved with starting to push my body and where I was then to where I am now, and the long-term projects, the ones that take 5 years, where am I at? And that process, and what am I trying to have achieved by the end of this year, getting things set for next year, and just seeing the whole evolutionary pattern and how I've grown and been able to dial in exactly who I am, why I stand for what I stand for, and not having any hesitations, to be able to just take action, to be able to just speak, not to be able to put together some story, but just to tell my story. And two really big pieces of wisdom were gifted to me when I was doing a ritual with Hades. Uh, and when I was doing this ritual with Hades, it felt like I had done the same old ritual with a couple entities, and I got to a point where I was just mad and I needed to be able to just get out all my emotion. And I've always felt an affinity with Hades and other rituals I'd perform with him. In some aspects, you can see it as Abaddon, you could see it as Kali, but I like to always see the form Hades because the aesthetic. And I also just love that pantheon of the Greeks, and just being able to look into that aspect and really be able to connect with and be able to express my essence and being with completely. Because sometimes when you look into different face and different masks, maybe an entity has on like five different faces, and you see how they're different in each culture. And one really just burns correctly with you that you feel like you'd be able to just open the box completely. And that's why some entities come as a female for some others and males for others. It's who they resonate with, so they're going to be able to open up those gates of connection completely, so there's any hesitation and you can truly speak your heart. And as I'm doing this, Hades is saying, yell. You need to yell as loud as you can during this ritual. You need to get every bit, every aspect of emotion out. And just being able to express that and yell and get every bit of emotion that was so tied up with the situation just out, gone, expressed. It was a relief. And Hades told me in every single ritual, you must come with that degree of emotion. And I've always been very I've been very intense with my emotion in my everyday life, but my ritual and magic practice, I've always liked to come down to this grounded, calm person into rituals. And I'm understanding more now that being yourself to its completion. There is a time and place for to get crazy and another place to get chilling. But really to be able to step into and become who I need to be in order to execute the ritual perfectly. And for that I needed to yell. I needed to just scream, get it all out. And it was a great way of evolving. And not too long ago, I felt a calling to work with Inky or Lucifer. And I had taken an analysis of when the first time I worked with Lucifer and when I was at an old job, and I remember sitting out on top of a hill during my lunch break when the sun was coming down, away from the building, away from everyone, and just asking for his presence to come to me. And his feeling and his presence, it's just always, it comes like that, and a knowledge of knowing it is him, and that feeling of needing to be a calling forth Lucifer to hear what he had to say. Because I don't just call forth and do things every day or even every month. It's just whenever I feel pulled to a certain entities and beings, and I felt that pull. And one other very interesting thing about with Lucifer, this is a side story. When I was just getting involved with working on magic, I remember being at this other house and I was asking to be able to feel his energy touch my third eye. And I remember sitting and just asking for it over and over. And then I felt a zap of electricity right before into my third eye. And my body just felt that energy jab. And, I had the chills, cold, all that. And it was a really powerful experience. I digress. So I was doing a ritual with Lucifer, and I was having a conversation with him beforehand before I went in and did the ritual. And it was really me understanding who I am, not only in this conscious 3D dimensional plane, but the astral plane, the ethereal planes, the cosmic, my essence and being, and not only for what I'm desiring in this life, but other lives and long term, which I want to be connected to, which I do not want to be connected to, what I am building alliances with, and knowing what I'm willing to do and what I'm not willing to do, and just knowing myself completely and not having any hesitation once again. And I was able to just be very sovereign. And then at the end of the ritual, Lucifer said to me, "Know all things you've cast." And it was so simple. It's like, duh. But then it's such a deep level of thinking because in your magical practice, or even your everyday practice of living life, whether it's thought patterns, massive rituals where you push a massive amount of energy into things, whether you're using radionics, whatever it may be, when you build that energy up and then you release it, it goes out into the world. And whether or not it takes 3 days, 3 months, 3 years, the energy goes out and it has its effect. Now, in our ego, and usually how we desire things, we usually get all pumped up and shoot it off, and it's like, yeah, and then you're like, well, whatever, and then you move on, and you're on to the next adventure, and next thing you know, that thing that you cast it for comes to you, and it's a part of that putting all your emotion in and just really building it up, and then launching it off, and knowing it's launched, and letting go, and moving forward. Getting through your next race, getting your next medal, moving on, going on, and continually elevating and growing and becoming more certain in all things you do with your life. And even when you think about how you're impacted by others in your life, in your everyday life, or all those things, that the patterns of thought and who you want to be, are they being muddied and thrown off by these people you're around, the influences which you're influenced by, or is it helping your process move cleaner and more effectively? And once you have that locked in too, then within your practice, as you're growing as an individual, each thing you're casting, you're able to firmly and let go all the emotion and let it do its thing. And no matter what anyone else says, anything that the world says, that you believe with certainty, and things will come to manifest. But everything is a seed, and everything takes time to grow. And sometimes it's a super boost, sometimes it takes a while, and sometimes you gotta go beyond which you thought you would if you truly desire what you desire. So Ellie Alchemist just wanted to tap in and give you a few pieces of wisdom in which were blessed upon and given to me. So take it easy, stay tuned, more great things and works ahead, and hit me up on my website, blacklightalchemy.com. If you'd like any working, whether it's exorcism, spell casting, just growing spiritually, or even podcasts, hit me up and I'll get back to you. Take it easy.